Hello again. Welcome back to the Connection Currency. I have the beautiful Justine Martin with me today. For those of you that have never jumped on here before, we created this platform and developed this platform because we were all feeling a little bit lost in connection and community. So in that world full of noise and digital marketing and email marketing and hustle and everything, it's just that we all said real growth and real business comes from connection, not from the performance that goes on all those platforms and places. So with this in mind, we created the connection currency. So this is just an informal sort of chat. There's no right or wrong answers. We don't polish it. We're truly authentic and just out there. And I'm doing this because I'm curious what happens on behind businesses and what lights them up. What helps other businesses come through and come through, help them on their journey. So here, some of us are growing quietly, some of us are just tired, some of us are succeeding beyond our wildest dreams and still doubting ourselves with a bit of self-imposter syndrome. So I'm hoping that I'm creating a aligned community that feels supported, connected, empowered. And my wish for you all is that you can connect and collaborate with others here in a really authentic way. Connection is a currency, and if you don't believe it, it is. And you shouldn't feel like you have to shove your business card at people and then shove their business card back to you. Real connection happens in the most incredible ways. Um, so we'll get started. So welcome, Justine. Hello, how are you?
Thank you for having me, Robin.
Thank
I
you
was
for
going to
saying
call you
yes.
Mrs. Baker, but I thought I better not.
Thank you for saying yes.
Thanks
So
for asking me to come on here and be one of the first. I feel
I know.
privileged.
I'm excited. Only my privileged friends get this.
And we've
Um,
got to stay on task
yeah,
because you and I have this
I know.
tendency to what
Banter.
were we
We
talking?
will. And hey, we can go there. Um, but I really want to know the story behind your business because that will help so
Which
many
one?
others and inspire so many others behind your businesses, let's say. What lights you up when things get really hard? What do you love about one of your businesses, about all of your businesses, or about something in particular in your business that could inspire and motivate others?
So, do I go right back to the beginning?
You can go back as far as you like.
Look, I think I owned a business in 1998, 99, 2000, and that was a ladies' dress shop. And I used to say to myself, I bought myself an apprenticeship because I wasn't an apprentice. And I've done so many multi-level marketing businesses. I don't think there's one on the planet that I haven't had a crack at over the years. But from that, I learned a lot on how to self-market because you had to, otherwise you'd die. Can we swear on this podcast? You
Yeah.
raise it.
I'll
All right,
give a
better
trigger
not.
warning. Should I give a trigger warning? We're doing this after hours, but somebody might be watching it Sunday morning after church. So we've got to be maybe conscious of that.
Okay, so now what was I saying? Because I haven't
Dress shop,
acquired many.
multi-level marketing,
Oh, yeah. So I
marketing
learned
yourself.
Yeah, I learned so much from running these multi-level marketing businesses on how to market yourself and the connections that you would make, and then going back to previous hostesses and it's like, hey, I'm not doing this multi-level marketing business anymore, but I'm doing this one over here. Do you want to have a party for me? Or do you want to buy some perfume? Or do you want to buy some cleaning cloths? Or do you want to buy some plastic, so to speak? Then I thought I was in my dream job. I had worked 10 years in the weight loss industry and I'd become a weight loss consultant in that. And then I went to being a program director. And then the next step up would have been running my whole clinic, which I could see wasn't going to be that far away. But my body had other ideas, and I was diagnosed with an incurable disease being multiple sclerosis. And from that MS, I developed a acquired brain injury. So I couldn't count at all back in 2011. I couldn't multitask. I got a male brain. I feel for I know what it's like. I'm probably
Oh.
one of the rare females on the planet that can say I've had a female brain and I've got a male brain
Mm.
from it. And it was terrible. And my neurologist said, you better find a hobby. You're going to have a lot of time on your hands. And I'd always wanted to learn how to paint, but never made the time. I should say, because there probably was time there to do it, but I never made the time in a hobby. I was too busy focusing on my career and I was too busy with young kids as well. And yeah, in 2011, it all came crashing down. And I was in my dream job, looking at my dream home to buy. And we were under contract to buy that house. And in my dream relationship. So I thought.
Mm.
Then when my neurologist said, you can't work anymore, you better find a hobby. And I'm like, oh, I've always wanted to learn how to paint, but it wasn't as simple as me going, okay, well, let's go and do an art course. Let's go and find an art studio to go into. I had crippling anxiety. My world was crashing around me and faster than what I could keep up with. And the easiest way to describe it was I felt like Alice falling down that dark hole, trying to
Mm.
grip onto the tunnel, and I hit rock bottom and I had full-blown depression. And the guy that I was engaged to had no empathy whatsoever. He worked away in the mines, and I wasn't allowed to talk about it when he came home for those 5 days. And then he was away for 9 again. I felt so alone.
Oh, God.
And MS wasn't something that I was unfamiliar with because my mum had MS. So that you would think would be a good thing, but it was a bad thing because I knew the path
Yeah.
that she'd taken, and she passed away from complications from MS at the age of 49. And here I was 40 years of age
Mm.
thinking, oh my God, my life is ending. How can I climb out of this black hole? After about 3 to 4 months of me driving to this art studio, sitting outside crying, and then driving home without walking inside, one day I got really angry at myself and thought, what is the worst thing that can happen by me walking through the door? I was so worried that people, Robin, were going to judge me because I was no longer of able-bodied, that they were going to look at me and go, oh, she's disabled. She's not worth anything in society anymore, which is what happened with my mum. So
Yeah.
when people saw her and saw that she wasn't a complete person anymore, they judged her constantly. And
Mm.
I was so worried about that. Anyway, the art studio, the teacher was actually one of my previous Weight Watchers leaders when I was a Weight Watchers leader for about 9 years. So I knew her. So you think it would have
Yeah.
been easy to walk in, but it wasn't. It was
Yeah.
really, really hard. And in my new book, which we'll talk about towards the end, I talk about what if. What
Mm.
if I had never walked into that art studio and picked up a
Mm.
paintbrush? My life would have been on a totally different trajectory than what
Yeah.
it actually is. So anyway, I plucked up enough courage one day and I walked in and thought, what's the worst that can happen? And everything was going through my mind that the worst that could
That
happen.
self-talk. It's awful. The
Yeah.
self-talk. Yeah.
I'm not good enough for this.
Yep.
Can't
Yep.
do this. What am I thinking? Who does she think she is? We live in Australia with that whole tall poppy syndrome as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Anyway, I walked in and she set me up with a piece of paper and I painted my first apple. And she goes, you know what she said to me? She goes, I don't know why you're here.
Oh,
And I'm like, what?
oh,
She goes,
that's wonderful.
you're a natural. I don't know why you're here. And I'm like, because I don't know how to paint. And it went from there. And I had probably had about 10 lessons, 10 weeks worth there. And then we moved across to Victoria. So that was in Perth. And then in the course of the next 12 months, I caught my fiance having an affair with his boss.
Oh,
And I joined the MS Social Support Day program, and there were art classes there. There was a teacher there that would teach you how to paint. So 6 months after I picked up my paintbrush, I entered my first exhibition, and I had earned no money in nearly 12 months.
mm.
So I was solely
Wow.
relying on another human being. I couldn't give him
Yeah.
Benelink because he earned so much, and he was had coercive control over me, and it was demoralizing. So
Mm.
I sold this painting. It sold for $300.
Oh,
I
wow.
still feel all gooey about it because
Yeah, yeah.
we paid $300,
Dollars for something.
something that I created
Wow.
from scratch. They
Yeah.
saw enough talent in it to hand over their hard-earned money
Mm.
and put it on their wall.
Yeah, it's
And then
wonderful.
people started commenting that my artwork made them smile. And that all of a sudden, because when I stopped work, I had no purpose in life. I
Yeah,
felt I had no purpose. What was my purpose going to be
yeah.
from now until I died?
Mm.
And now all of a sudden, I had purpose back. I could make
Yeah.
people smile by looking at my art. And I still make people smile by looking.
Absolutely. I love your art.
And
It's happy. It
thank
is
you.
happy.
Yeah, because I'm in my happy place when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm actually a whole person again. And I'm equal with my peers when I do it. I'm doing it
Mm.
because when my artwork hangs on the wall, they don't know that I'm a disabled woman.
No, no, that's so true.
They don't. They either like it or they
Yeah.
don't. And, it doesn't, not everyone likes it. And that's fine because everyone's
Yeah.
not meant to like it.
Mm.
But I like it.
Yeah.
And I was game enough to actually enter these exhibitions. And then from that, I entered lots and lots. And my daughter and I started Just Art. So that's
Hmm.
Juztart, not
Hmm.
Just Tart, um, Just Art. And didn't think about that until I sign righted my
Yeah,
car in the front
yeah.
door at the petrol station.
And then we're, uh-oh.
And it said tart, and the guy, the servo attendant, was laughing his head off. And I went inside after I pumped up my fuel, and I went, "What are you laughing at?" He goes, "Oh, a tart." And I'm like, "What?" And then I look because the door was still open. I'm like, "Oh my God, I've just paid $1,300 to have this all decalled on it." And the front door says tart. So, and
Oh,
people will ring up and say, "Oh, I'm just wondering if this is just tart." And I'm like, "No, this is just art."
God.
To be
Yeah,
very
we don't bake tarts here. Let's just put it that
No, no,
way.
it might have been called one in my time, but
Yeah.
be very careful on what you're actually naming your business. So we started off selling, my daughter and I did markets. We
Yeah.
just went to the community markets. We needed money. We were on, and I'm, not too proud to actually admit that we were on Food Bank. We
Mm.
had no money whatsoever. It took 4 months to get a disability pension through. Um, it's one of the worst times of my life, and money is a motivator, and I don't care what anyone says. I do a lot of what I do to make money.
Mm.
Give me the choices in life than sitting back saying, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
nothing wrong, and
No.
nothing wrong with admitting
Mm.
that you're doing things to make money and to make a better life for yourself because that gives you the choice.
Mm.
So we started doing lots of markets and, getting up at 5, 6 a.m. and putting tents up and displaying it all. And I sold lots of stuff and I made greeting cards and everything, which you've got some of my
I
greeting
have some of
cards.
your cards,
Yes.
yes. I
Um,
think I've only got a few left. I'll have to
oh, I've
look.
got a whole packet. I'll send them to you.
No.
I think I've got a ward like that left of
Oh,
your
wow.
design. So yeah, I'll pop them in the post. And yeah, it really picking up that paintbrush saved my life because
Mm.
like I said in my book that's coming out, it's like, what if? What if I
Mm.
hadn't have done that? Where would we be?
Yeah.
And I always would have wondered, what if I'd picked up the paintbrush?
Mm.
What could have happened in my life? What would have been different?
Mm.
And just mentally, it changed me as well because like I said, it took me to that happy place. Then my body likes to have other ideas. And then in 2013, 14, and 15, I underwent some heart surgeries. So just when I start getting in front,
Yep.
then my
Getting
body goes,
excited about things.
no way, girlfriend,
No.
get back here. And I used to go when I'd go into hospital, I'd take drawings and I'd sit there and I'd draw for hours on end,
Mm.
rather than being on, social media and stuff like that. Then I was starting to get in front again, and I was competing in the world champion, oh, not the world championship, so that was 2007. I was competing in the Australian and Pacific Rim and Oceania Masters Championships for Olympic weightlifting
Wow.
in Tasmania as an able-bodied athlete, but in a disabled body.
Oh,
Don't tell me I can't do something. And
yeah.
and then I started going purple.
Oh gosh.
And it was a major concern and went off to lots of different specialists, lots of different doctors. And there's lots more in it. I'm just trying to give you the condensed.
Yeah.
I was referred to a dermatologist who wanted to confirm with the purple, when I was going purple, I look like a zombie. So my nose, my chin, my ears, my hands, my feet were all going this nice dark shade of purple. And my neurologist suggested that it was lividio reticularis, and there's three things that can cause that, and that's rheumatoid arthritis, lymphoma, and lupus. So they ruled out lupus and rheumatoid arthritis and said, "Oh, you better go to the dermatologist and just, check that that's what it is. If it is lividio, you'll need a biopsy." And I walked in, she looked at my hands and feet and went, "I don't need to do a biopsy, it is." And I
Mm,
instantly started to freak because all
mm,
of a sudden she had confirmed that it was cancer.
mm.
And she kept going back to a little spot on my leg, and she said, "We'll just do a biopsy." Anyway, that turned out that it was melanoma.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Is that why I'm going purple?" And they're all like, "No, that's a separate issue." Then I developed problems breathing. I couldn't bend my fingers, couldn't bend my toes. And I got diagnosed with another blood condition called mixed cryoglobulinemia. And art really saved my life. Now,
Yeah.
I couldn't hold a paintbrush and I couldn't hold a pen.
Mm.
So all of a sudden, what made me happy and what took me into that meditative state, because I've never been able to sit in the corner and go, I'm not an person. My
Me neither.
way too much for that. So um painting, however, I can paint and go into my own little world.
Mm,
And all of a sudden that was taken away.
yeah.
Something that I'd had since like the end of 2011. Here we are at the end of 2016,
Mm,
was looking like I could never do it again. Anyway, lots of people tagged me in this post from this painter artist over seas, and she painted with oils. And I went, "Oh, I wonder if I could do that with acrylics." So
mm,
my hands were like this. So for those that are listening, I couldn't like bend them, but I
mm.
could move paint around. And so I taught myself how to finger paint.
Wow.
And then so one of the things that I've learnt with having this disability and my body and everything, and in business and going into business, is that you have to adapt and modify.
Mm,
So COVID was a really good one for us in that we had to adapt and modify.
yeah.
If we all, the other word everyone uses, pivot.
I hate that
I
word.
hate
I
that
hate
word.
that word. I hate hearing that word
Me too.
still. And I hate that word.
So I adapted and modified to my
Mm,
environment.
yeah.
And I taught myself how to finger paint. And then my first finger painting sold for $400. And I'm like, hallelujah, I can still make some money.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Wow.
and then in the January, they found out that I had chronic lymphocytic leukemia and small lymphocytic lymphoma, stage 4. So I had 3 primary cancers, 2 blood conditions, and the MS all to deal with. So what does one do when one is faced with something like that?
I just don't know how you cope. I really don't.
So I bought a house in
Yeah.
2016. The
And
day that
decided
I
to
got,
renovate.
yeah, the day that I got the keys and I found out that I could have cancer, I
Mm,
went, well, I'm going to put an art studio in and I'm going to teach other disabled people how to paint.
yeah.
So that's what I focused on all the way through my chemo.
Mm,
Was this is not going to get me. I'm just having this magic juice that they're putting into my veins and it's going to kill the bad cells that are in my body.
mm,
And that's exactly what happened. And then when I got through that, everyone wanted to know how come I remained so positive, what my mindset was. And how was I still running a business in the middle of it all? There was a lot of hospital time, and there was a lot of time drawing in hospital, creating more art. And so then resilience mindset came about, and I registered that business. Then I was an MS ambassador for a long period of time. I think I became an ambassador in about 2013, 14, and then by 2019, I was talking on stages all around Victoria and accepting checks on their behalf. And someone in the audience, I wish I knew who it was now because I'd really thank them. She came
Mm.
up to me and she said, "Do you get paid for this?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, this is all voluntary." And she goes, "You have a really unique story and you should be paid." And I'm like, "Oh, is there such a thing that I could get paid for talking?" Now, the funny thing was, if you go back, if you go back to primary school, on my school reports and high school, Justine talks too much in class.
Funny that I think mine have the same thing on it.
Only they knew. Actually, I'm friends
Yeah.
on Facebook.
Well, some of them do, and they're like, hmm.
I'm friends on Facebook with quite a few of my old high school teachers, so it's not a
Mm.
surprise to them at all. And I thought, well, I'm going to go out on my own and I'm going to start Justine Martin Speaker, and I did. And then I had to adapt and
Yeah.
modify because we know what happened in 2020.
Yes.
Yeah, COVID hit. And
Mm.
then, so I did webinars online and I hated them and I still hate webinars online, but I will do them under, when I need to. Now, I must apologize for anyone that's looking at the moment. I do have white paint on my hands
Yeah.
because I've been painting.
It's not something else you've got. You've been painting all day.
I've been painting all day and I just threw this dress on for the occasion.
But you look fabulous, so as always.
It's the pink glasses.
Yeah, I love.
Um, So, yeah, I did webinars and then 2021. So I went through domestic violence at the end of 2020, and unfortunately, he broke bones in my body. And again, I struggled to hold a pen and a paintbrush because he broke my
Mm.
right arm. And I wrote a children's book. And I wrote a children's book about inclusion and equality because wouldn't it be nice if we all lived in a world that we treated everyone the same?
Yeah.
And I know how hard it is when I have to use Miss Molly in my wheelchair, that people treat me differently. I can
Mm.
see it. I can hear it. People yell
Mm.
at me because they think I'm deaf. It's like, no, my
Yeah.
legs aren't working today.
Yeah.
My ears still
But I
work.
can hear.
Yeah, that's right. Or, they'll talk to my carer behind me and forget that I'm actually
Yeah.
the teacher, and it's
You're
like,
a
damn it,
person.
you're talking to me. And I submitted that book off. So I painted that book and I submitted the book off to 31 publishers. And out of those 31 publishers, I got 5 contracts. I
Mm.
thought, oh,
Mm.
that's a pretty good odds. I must be onto something here. Then I read through the contracts and they wouldn't let me use the copyright. They own the copyright of all my artwork. I'm
Mm.
like, no, that's not going to work because I had progressed to making sculptures that sell up to about $8,000 each.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's one in my front yard, and that sculpture is actually the first page in the children's book. And so I
Oh.
wasn't allowed to make any more of those sculptures or
Mm.
sell them or any prints or cards or 3D uh,
Mm.
sculptures from it as well, because my son's got that 3D printing business here in town.
Yeah.
And I wasn't allowed to make or sell any of those. And I'm like, no, that's cutting my nose off to spite myself. So you've really got to look through your contracts. And
Yeah. If you're writing a book of any sort with,
for any
yeah,
contract for
yeah,
any
and
business,
any contract, exactly.
read
Yeah.
it from A to B. And if you don't understand it, whack it in Chat GPT nowadays and
Yeah.
they'll be able to, or go and see and pay
A
for a
lawyer.
solicitor. And I know that solicitors are not cheap, but they can potentially save you hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Mm.
So I went to the bathroom, I was gone a minute, I came back into the boardroom and I said to the team, we're going to start a publishing business. And they're like, what? You're only gone for 60 seconds? And I'm like, yep, now that's all it takes. Let's action it. Now
Yep.
I'm a
Yep.
woman of action.
Yes.
So the best thing that I could have watched, listened to, and read, because I've done all of it, is Mel Robbins' 5 second rule. That
Yeah.
has been a game changer in my life.
Yeah.
Okay, so when when you hear someone say this idea, or you'll be walking through somewhere or see it on TV, someone will say, "Oh, I thought of that."
Mm,
You might have thought of it, but you didn't action on it.
action it. Yeah.
You got to action. Now, actioning can be just a simple case of having an idea and writing it down. I keep this book planner with me. Wherever I go, I have it and I action it by writing it in there. And I put a check box. I just put a square box at the end of it. And
Mm,
then I go through and I cross off the ones that I've done on a daily basis.
yeah.
And then more stuff gets written in there. At night time, during the middle of the night, some of us wake up with bright ideas at 3 a.m. in the morning.
And message our friends that are awake,
Yeah.
and then write it in our book and go back to sleep.
Well, I
Yeah.
actually call out theory. I can't say that too loud because
Yeah,
my
because it starts, mine will all go off as
yeah,
well.
mine will go off like the watch, the
Yeah, yeah,
laptop, my phone. And I'm
everything.
like, can you make a note? Blah, blah,
Yes.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then it'll read me back the note and then I'll roll over and go back to sleep.
Well, that's what
I
I do.
know.
And I get in the car after meetings and stuff like that. And I'm like, all these people I meet and all the stuff's rushing through my head. And
Yep,
I'm like, I'm never going to remember all this because not just age, I'm just never going to remember it all. And I'll do that in the car when I'm
yep,
driving. I'll go make a
same.
note and it makes a note. And then I'll have to make another note, like, and then you can set it into different platforms like you've
That's
talked
right.
about, and start actioning it and it starts working for you. Yeah.
Yeah, because I have short-term memory issues with the
Mm.
acquired brain injury, and so everything has to be written down, or I
Yeah.
don't remember it all. And I tried online, like I tried Monday, Trello. No, it didn't work. I had
It
to go.
just takes more. I find those sort of systems, they're great for some people, but I just find they take way more time than
They do because
than
by the
than
time
getting the
it
idea and
takes
actioning it. Yeah, you can be
by
doing
the,
things.
by the time it takes me to open up the computer, get into the
Yeah.
computer, find it, I've lost it. It is
Yes.
gone. I've got 3 seconds to actually action something that
Yeah.
I've thought of, and I can't recall it at all.
Mm,
It's
mm,
totally gone. So,
yeah.
adapting and modifying, learning new things has been really, 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 really hard. And normally I'd swear then, but I'm containing myself, for you, Rob. And
Good job.
um, I know. But it doesn't mean that it's impossible.
Yeah.
Just means that it's taken a lot longer and a lot harder to do. I had an employment agency say to me in 2012, there's not enough time or money on the planet to retrain you. So that's been a motivator for me. I'm like, how dare you
Mm.
tell me that? And
Challenge accepted.
yep,
Challenge accepted.
don't tell me I can't. And it was the same with the neurologist that told me in 2011 that I'd never be able to work again. What he should
Mm.
have told me was that you're not going to be able to work again in the profession that you're in.
What you're
And he
doing.
would have been
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
doing that because I couldn't multitask. I couldn't listen to what the client was saying and write it all down and everything like that, and then work out their program and how much food they needed and then give them the change because I couldn't count.
Mm.
And it was very, very stressful, and I was very, very tired for a long, long period of time. Um, so then came the next business. Now,
So
just
what, we're up to business number three, four.
I don't know, I can't count. So we've got let's go through this. Just up, resilience mindset,
Good.
um, Justine Martin speaker. Oh, and
Yeah.
so we started the publishing company, and
Yes.
within 24 hours, we had registered the business name, bought the domain, designed the logo, and we're working on, okay, now how do we get this website going?
Yeah.
And that's called Morpheus Publishing.
Mm.
And then we launched Same, but Different. And then we launched Whispers of Resilience, Our Stories with Multiple Sclerosis, which is still sitting in the top 25 on
Yeah.
Amazon
Yeah. Yeah.
for the last 3 years. And
Yeah.
I'm bloody proud of that book. So
Yeah.
it's a book about 26 people who all live with MS across Australia, and we're all different, but we all have the same. So
And
same.
you won an award for that too, along with all the other many awards you have.
I got Best Anthology at the Able Book Awards for that. And it was quite ironic that the first book I brought out was Same, but Different. And then the next book, the underlining theme in that was that it was same, but different through it
Mm.
all. And then the next business that I started, was Geelong residential cleaners and garden maintenance because my daughter and her husband are both on the spectrum and couldn't find jobs. And I got sick of giving them money to help them all the
Yeah.
time. I'm like, you're a good cleaner, you're a good gardener, let's start a business. And they're like, oh, we can't do the booklet. I'll do all that. You just go out and do, I can't do the physical labor on it all.
Mm.
And so that business is, we're going into our third year with that one as well. I did have another one called Van Gogh Decals, which is still
Yeah.
registered. Um,
Yeah.
and that's putting my artwork on large decals for caravans and camper vans. And I
And
really try,
suitcases, isn't it? And suitcases?
and suitcases
Yeah.
to find your suitcase. And
Mm.
if anyone's out there listening that can help me with that one, please feel free to get in contact with Rob, who can get in contact with me, or
I'll share all your details on the
people.
post. Yeah.
Because the packaging on that is what threw me. And I didn't
Mm.
have the brain capacity at the time to try and deal with it because you can't send a meter decal rolled up.
Yeah.
And so it's still registered. I still own the domain name and everything for it. And when the time's right, when I know that the time's right, then it'll come through. And some people still get me to do commission work on those. I'll come and knock on my front door, or they'll inbox me and to make them a decal for their caravan, and I'm quite happy to do that. So if you ask ChatGPT, I say that I have four businesses and a company because last
Yeah.
year, as we know, Morpheus is going to the point that it had to become a company on its own. So I have four businesses, a company, and then Justine Martin Corporation over the top. But none of this would have happened unless I asked for help.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that amazing when you think about it?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that was the one catalyst behind everything.
Mm.
Um, and you flying all over the world, flying all over Australia, going to book launches.
Book
Um,
launches, speaking in on stages with thousands of people, and I get paid thousands
to
of dollars.
do it. I
Yeah.
know. It's the
So
best job.
you know how
The
much I
best,
get paid because I
best.
ring you. I'm like, oh my God, they've just paid me this much.
I know. It's the
So,
best job.
but
And
the
and
reason why I do
yeah,
all of that, Robin, is not for me. I
no.
like the money, and I
Yeah.
like the designer clothes that I now get to have the choice in,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Absolutely.
some gold jewelry, but
Yeah.
it's not for that. It's
No.
really not. I can honestly sit here and say that
Yeah.
it's to help people. And
Yeah.
my story on everything that I've been through gives other people hope.
It
Hope
does.
that despite the bad life moment that you are going through, whether it is in business or whether it is in your personal life, that's when we grow. That's when we are forced to look outside of the square and go, how can I fix this? And
Mm.
out of those moments, amazing things can happen. And you were talking about, connection and collaboration. Wow, I've had some amazing connection and collaborations. I
Yeah.
mean, I met this most amazing woman that I had a connection with in Ireland.
Ah, well, I met an amazing woman that I had a connection with in Ireland, and another amazing woman, and I think they call us the three amigos now. Um,
No, we're the three Mead sisters, aren't we?
the Merry Mead
The
sisters. Yes,
Mary Mead sisters.
yeah. But
That's a
like,
story we can't say on here.
no, but that connection was pretty phenomenal because we had already been to a women's retreat
Yes,
where
you
there
and
were
I
other
did.
women, where there were
Yeah.
other women, and we'd been to that women's retreat, and there was a lot going on, and I was there with a friend of mine, and loads of other stuff going on in the background because I had hubby with me, and but he didn't come to the retreat, but there was just lots of other things happening, and you sort of connected with some different in the group than I
Yeah.
connected with.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until we went to Ireland we realized we had loads more synergy and
Do you
stuff going
remember
on.
that? We're
Yeah.
in London actually, and B and I were waiting to get on the bus on this
I
tour
went, oh my God.
and we hear this, Justine, Bianca. And we're like, what? We're in the middle of London. And we've turned around and here she is running to us. And Tez is just standing there shaking his head. And we
Yeah.
went
Well,
into it.
he's making the guy with the tour bus hold the tour bus while I jumped off the tour bus and ran to wave at you guys. Because I
And then
was
we
like,
had to get on
that
our
was
tour
that
bus.
was that was Justine and B that just went past there.
And then the next day we went to the standing, where'd we go? Stonehenge.
Stonehenge, we went
Yeah.
to, I was just looking.
We went to Le Coq, Stonehenge, Windsor
Yeah. Yep.
Castle.
Yep.
Terry and
And
I got drunk in La Coque at that tavern that was built in 600 and something.
oh, phenomenal time.
And
That
such
was
a
on
good time.
Scotch. That wasn't mead, but anyway.
No, that was me and Tess. And where Harry Potter was filmed and Pride and Prejudice.
Oh,
And
I
then we
know.
went to
That was the
Bath,
most
got
amazing
Terry.
day. We lost Terry. You guys found a guy that found Terry.
It was such a good day. And that
It was.
connection. And pretty much nearly every day since
Mm,
then, the three of us
we have.
have connected in
Yeah.
that. It's just, and wherever the three of us have never been together since then. We
Oh,
haven't.
haven't we?
No,
Wow. Because I've come and seen
always
you
been
both,
two.
and you've been to Brisbane, and Bee's been to
Yeah.
Brisbane. My
And
gosh,
Beat
we
and I
haven't.
will miss each other by a week and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So that is something on the cards. But there was
Yeah, we
another
need to
woman
do
that
that.
I met at the castle in Ireland.
Mm,
And I didn't quite realize who she was until I got back to Australia. And every time I sat down, she was on like either side of me. And by the end of the week, I started calling her Auntie.
mm.
I said to her, Auntie, this is a coincidence that we're sitting together again. And she's like, just
Yes.
there's no such thing as coincidence.
No,
And I've
no.
lived my life since the castle, which was 2023, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was November 2023.
Yeah.
Yes.
In that there's no such thing as coincidence. And I remember when we were going to, now I'm going to pronounce this wrong,
Yeah,
but we were
November
going into the
November
tavern.
2023.
Yeah, we were going into Edenskillen, if that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
And
Ernskillen.
Ernskillen,
Ernskillen.
there you go. And sitting in the back of the bus, and she looked at me and she goes, "You and I are going to do big things in this world." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And there was a lot of things flying around in that week writing retreat, and
Mm.
then I wrote my
I
book.
didn't go to write. I just went for the party,
I
but
know you went
you
for the
know,
party.
I didn't go to write. Everyone else was writing, but
I went for
I'm,
the, I went for
and
the
and
butler.
that's the other thing. Yeah, it was good having a butler. It was nice having a butler and a cook. Um, but and being waited on hand and foot.
I
But
know.
I went for the party, and that's a long story of connection of who I met and why I went there. And I went for the party, and I just didn't realize the fantastic connections that I made from there. Like I never expected that when
I
I hemmed and
bawled
hawed
my
about going.
eyes out. I
Mm.
bawled my eyes out at Dublin Airport when you all hopped on
Mm.
the plane. Oh, you stayed in the city as well, but we didn't catch up.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But then we didn't catch up because there were protests.
there
We
were, and I
couldn't make our way from where we were through the protests.
and
And
actually they
the
it was
guy in the because we were right opposite was it St. Stephen's Gardens?
yeah.
Um and the guy at the hotel was like, "Oh no, don't go outside.
There
Don't go.
were
It's
fire
too
bombs and
dangerous."
everything going on.
Mm.
And
So
I had
so we
another
went,
3 days
okay.
in the city by myself.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
the woman that I had a connection with was Dr. Tara Trent,
Yeah.
and she was Oprah's my
Oprah's
favorite
favorite
guest.
guest. Yeah.
And she's the one that built the girls' schools in Zimbabwe with Oprah, and pinch me moments. So when I was getting to the end of writing my book, I thought, who can I get to write the foreword? And so I sent Auntie a message, not expecting her to say yes, but hoping that she would.
Yeah.
And she said yes, because she'd actually, when we were at the castle, wanted to know the story of all my tattoos.
Mm.
We sat in front of, picture this, we sat in front of this big open fire with tapestries on the walls in the formal dining area, and we spoke about connection as
Yeah.
well and sisters and the story behind the tattoos. And so she asked me if I could write that in a chapter for her, and she would then put it on her Substack and promote it. And I'm like, well, I'm at a writing retreat. Yes, of course, I'll
I
write
can knock
that.
that out.
So I sat in the formal library and typed away this chapter and gave it to her. So At the beginning of last year, I sent her a message saying, Auntie, would you do me the honor of writing my forward? And oh my God, she said yes.
And it's an amazing forward. I've
It
read
is.
it, and
You've
it's
read it.
just, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's from the heart, and it's just, I can even hear her I can hear her reading it to
Yeah,
me,
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So I'm very, very privileged. And, that connection that I had with her, and now a dollar from the sale of every one of Moxie goes back to her foundation so she can
Wonderful.
help put
Yeah.
water into the schools that she's building. And, I have a personal goal on how many books I want to sell worldwide with that. And it's been on my vision board. I'm very big on vision boards. And it's on my vision board on how I can actually help her. Actually, today I asked for a quote on how to turn it into a book
And
for,
Audible.
and got a quote on back on how much it was. And
Mm.
the woman that owns the studio who I was going to use, she's like, I hope you're going to read it. And I'm like, oh no, I was hoping someone else would actually read it for me. She goes, no, 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 no. You really, 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 really have to read it yourself. We'll show you how to do it. We'll help you do it. So it is coming on Audible. It might take me 6 months because it's a bloody big book.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
travel a lot now. But look, the connections that I've made through, in particularly, women's networking and women's groups. So, and I'm going to rattle a few off here. So, the Osmumpreneur community,
Yeah.
She's the Boss community. There's been a couple overseas as well that I've been a part of, has been phenomenal. Even the Geelong Chamber of Commerce. So I can give you an example there. I went to a after five meeting and they had this couple stand up on stage talking about sudden infant death syndrome.
Oh
And it
gosh.
really, really hit me. And I thought, I am so blessed that
Mm.
I haven't had to experience that firsthand with my children. And also, I have quite a pack of grandchildren.
Yeah. Lucky you.
I know. Rob hates me that I've got so many
Oh
grandbabies.
no, that's all
He's
right. I keep
always,
saying I've got to get younger friends, but the younger friends do too. So, yeah.
and I went up to them and I was friends with Alex on Facebook and introduced myself because we'd never actually physically met face to face. And I said to her, and I met her ex-husband Carl, and the organization was called Rivers Gift. And I said, have you ever thought about a children's book
Mm.
to help? And she goes, yeah, we have, but we haven't been able to find an artist, an author, or a publisher. And I went,
Hmm. I know
I'm
somebody.
all three. So within a month after that, I'd written the book, and then the following year, we launched the book. So I hand painted every single picture in that book, and got to know Hope the elephant very well, and the connection I made was absolutely amazing. And they launched it at their inaugural ball, and there were 300 and over 350 people,
Wow.
380 people there, and everyone got a copy of the book. And it's about Hope, the elephant who loses hope in her own life, and she's not sure on how to find it and where it is. And she goes on an adventure and she talks to all these people, including Pansy, the dash hound, who's in same but different. And
Yeah.
then finds it in a field of sunflowers and realizes that hope's in all of us, and it's magical because it can spread from the next person, one person to the next. And so when I walked into this room dressed like a princess, that I just walked through a 9 foot high cutout with an arch in it of my book.
Your book cover. Yes.
Yeah, with all the
Wow.
pictures and
Yeah.
everything on it
Great.
on blue carpet because Hope's blue.
Yeah.
And walked into this room, and the whole room was full of sunflowers. And on every table, on a gold plate, was my book. And I'm
Yeah.
like, how did I get to this moment?
That's like the best book launch ever. A dream book
And
launch. Anyone who wants to
I
do a book launch, a dream book launch, that's what it looks like.
joke that J.K. Rowling wouldn't have had a bigger book launch with
Yeah.
Harry Potter when she first brought it out. It was just amazing, and so yeah, it was the connection that I made. And then last year I went to the Gympie muster with them because they became the charitable
Yeah.
partner in Gympie, and I drove all the way up there. Not everything I do is intelligent. And anyway, I went to the Gympie
Well,
muster.
I did say at the time
I know,
it was
I
going to be
stayed
fun.
with you one night, Rob, and
Yeah,
but I had a hoot of a time. It was so much fun, and I've
yeah,
never signed my name in autographs so many times as what I did. And we raised yeah, well into the six figures for that, which then enabled them to purchase all the 15,000 copies of
yeah.
Finding Hope
Mm,
to put into preschools
yeah.
in Queensland and a couple in New South Wales as well,
Mm.
about their sleep safety, which is in the back of the book. And I'm like, I pinch myself all the time going, how did I get to this?
Yeah, I know.
The connections that I have made
Yeah.
along the way, and all the business cards that I pick up from everyone. I pick them
Mm,
up and then I take photos of them, and my VA will then add them on
yeah.
LinkedIn and then put them into our mailing group, a mailing list. And for those that don't want to stay connected, they'll just unsubscribe.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I don't worry about that. I just make contact with people. And, I make contact with people. I had someone contact me yesterday saying, we spoke 12 months ago about you helping me publish my book. And I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Here's my calendar link. Let's talk about it
Yeah.
next year. So Morpheus is really taking off. For
Yeah.
every able-bodied person that I publish gives me the capacity to author either a full or part scholarship to someone with a disability. So we're really becoming one of the top publishers in Australia for people with disabilities and helping them tell their stories, because they're the ones that have, a lot of fascinating stories,
Yeah.
but don't have the financial means, because
Yeah.
most disabled people are in that lower socioeconomic sector and can't afford to pay for a hybrid publisher, and uh, traditional publishing is so hard
Mm,
to get into.
mm.
So yeah, it's been a snowball. I don't want to say a roller coaster because it really hasn't. It's been that little
No.
snowball that's now like an avalanche, and I'm
Yeah.
loving every minute of it and the amount of people that I'm helping. And I get inbox daily saying thank you, you saved me, or thank you, I love working with you, or I was at one of your talks 6 months ago and I went and implemented A, B, C, D in my life, and my
I
life.
know. And isn't that amazing when you think, my gosh, even if you just touch one person in an audience,
Yeah.
it's that connection you've made to that person to
Yep.
make their lives different.
Yeah. And and this is the fascinating part that I find. We live in a world where connection should be so easy. So easy, because
Mm,
you don't have to
mm,
walk out your front door. You can turn on your computer and you can talk to someone online. But we are further, I read somewhere and I can't remember where it was, but we're
mm.
the furthest from disconnection
Yeah.
than what we ever have been in society. I mean, do you know your neighbours' names? I
Mm.
do.
I do. I
Yeah.
do.
But a lot of people don't.
I do, and we all have nicknames for each other
Oh,
too.
there you go. I know. I've heard some of the stories with you. Um, and then like COVID was a classic example
Yeah,
of how
yeah.
lonely everyone was because there
Yeah,
was
well, and I felt everybody's gate crash in my world because I'd been on Zoom since Zoom started, and I'm like, oh, hang on a second, everybody's on here with me.
everyone pivoted,
I
Robin.
thought I thought I could be just quiet and do my thing, and then all of a sudden everybody was still finding me, but that's okay. I'm okay with that because like what is it? There's so many different ones say to me that I'm a super connector, and I feel a bit embarrassed when they call me that. But then I know when I know somebody and I can connect them to someone else, or they know each other and they're like, "How do you know Robin?" Like
Yeah.
you just realize then that it's not 6 degrees of separation. It's probably only really three.
I don't think it's even that with women in business in Australia. I think it's.
True, true,
I
yeah.
just want to talk about one thing
Yes.
before we wrap up, and that's
Yep.
the tall poppy syndrome.
Yes. Yeah. And imposter syndrome. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So my aunt gave me a word of advice very early into part B in my life, because part A I called before I was diagnosed with um,
Mm,
MS, but part B, and she said to me, "Stay in your own lane."
yeah.
She said, don't worry about what anyone else is doing. And that again has stuck with me because let's face it, they're not paying your phone bill. They're not
No, no, and that's what I
paying
always, yep, and that's what I always, that little voice in the back of my head says when I don't feel worthy enough or something. I think, hang on a second, they're not paying my bills. They don't know my life. They don't know me. So, good luck to you and on your way. But I'm going to do my thing.
Yep, 100%. And the other one about being, the imposter syndrome. I
Mm,
failed English in school.
mm.
In my book Moxie, How I Learned to F Up, um, how I learned to harden the F
Harden that.
up.
Yeah, harden
Um,
it.
yeah,
Mm.
because Robin won't let me swear on this podcast.
Sorry.
You should have heard it on the ABC the other day because I got interviewed for the ABC 2 weeks ago. So you
They
should.
would have had technology that they could beep you out every time you
Well,
said.
no, he actually said it, and he kind of beeped it out, and he goes, "I love the title," and I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
me too." I said my aunt turned around and told me I couldn't call it that, and I'm like, "I can call it anything I
So
want."
they have a delay where they can do that. I
Yeah.
don't, and I want the conversation authentic, but I also want friends of mine in different places and different, you know, um,
I know,
different beliefs to be able
I
to.
know, I know. That's why I didn't say the whole word.
I think
Um,
some of them get upset the fact I drink wine and cocktails, but that's me again.
yeah. Now, what was I saying before that? Because I've just lost it.
So imposter syndrome.
So imposter syndrome. So when I entered my first lot of awards, now I've won lots of awards over my
You
life.
have. You
I've
have.
so many. So I've won about 40 art awards since I picked up that paintbrush in 2011. And I've won
Yeah.
Olympic weightlifting medals and all-round weightlifting titles, and I've got world record titles in weightlifting. But then I hit the business world as a disabled person.
Mm.
And I've got a saying that I say to myself, go hard or go home.
Yep.
If I'm going to enter an awards, I'm going to enter more than one.
Yep.
I'm getting dressed up, frocked up, hair done, new gown, $1,000 to get there. I'm not going there for one nomination. I'm not going there for one. I'm going to enter every single one that I actually have the financial means to do it, which
Yep.
is normally anywhere from 6 to 10. I'll
Mm.
enter. And they take time to enter them all. It gives
Yeah.
me more of a chance to actually win
But
something.
that's another thing you do also, isn't it? Don't you write awards
I
as
do
well?
write awards.
Is that another business or that just comes under one of them?
That kind of comes under two. So that comes under resilience mindset and as well as Morpheus Publishing.
Yeah.
So, take your pick.
Yeah, yeah.
Whichever one needs a little bit more money into, that's the invoice that gets out on those ones. And I kid you not on that. So yeah, I do award writing because I have won 29
Mm.
awards since 2021.
Yeah.
Won the Geelong Business Leader of the Year. I'm the first disabled person, let alone woman, to actually win that award against all the able-bodied men and all the able,
Yeah.
but
Wow.
particularly the able-bodied men, in that. So, I was very, very emotional the night that I won that
Mm.
and the connections that I made through that. And look, all the connections that I've made when I go to the awards ceremonies
Yeah.
and it's like this community in itself. And I've had inboxes this week from some girls on the Gold Coast because I've got the Heart of Women Awards coming.
Yeah, you have.
Like, are you going to it? I'm like, of course I'm going to it. I'm just trying to work out my gown. I've got my crown, but I've got to work out my gown because
Yeah.
it's gowns and crowns. And tonight,
That's
well,
right.
that you can get the early bird tickets.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the connections I've made, I'm just so blessed to have them. And, like I said, making money is an absolute bonus
Mm.
for this because it gives me then the choice and the opportunity to travel and spread my message to lots and lots and lots of people. And this book that's coming out, so Moxie that's coming out,
Yeah.
took me 6 years to write. It's the fourth
Yes.
book that I will have been in, but it's a big book. It's 170,000 words because I don't know
Mm.
if you worked out I can talk a lot. I can also write a lot as well. And we did try and make it shorter, and my editor's like, no. It flows really well.
Much, yeah.
Just, and I've had such an amazing, traumatic, hard, bloody hard life, and built that resilience, but built Moxie along the way. And I wanted to share what I'd been through to show other people that anything is actually possible if you set your mind to it and don't listen to someone else's false
Oh,
beliefs. And in
no.
business, that's what we tend to do. We
Mm,
concentrate about what your competitor's doing or what Joe
mm,
Blow says to you or what a family member says to you.
mm.
Stay in your own lane.
Yeah. And if you love what you do, you never work another day in your life.
And I love what I do. And I work so many hours a day. And everyone's like, you need to slow down. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's your false belief, not mine,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
it doesn't
exactly.
feel like work. And, I'm a single woman and I lost my partner 3 years ago, three and a
Mm,
half years ago now. And I have put myself into work from that. And not the
mm.
one that broke my arm, by the way, this other
No, no.
other
Lovely.
lovely man, and you
Yeah.
can read about it in the book.
Yeah.
And I have put myself into work, and it has just made me happy. It fulfills what I do. And as we're recording this, Rob, you know that I'm sitting here in my studio apartment in
In
Townsville.
Townsville.
It's the garage.
But it's the only time I could grab you for a
I
chat
know.
at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night.
On a Friday
Um,
night.
that we could both make it work in our calendars.
That's
Yeah.
right. And look, I've got clients up here, I've got authors up here, and it means that, last year I was up here for 6 trips up to Townsville, which I think I worked out was about 3.5 months in total that I
Mm,
spent up here. And I live the lifestyle that I want to live.
oh,
And
yeah.
I've built the businesses to the point that as long as I've got my MacBook, I can go anywhere in the world and do the majority of work that I want to do. And my iPad as well, because I do a lot of digital art now in illustrating children's books. And then I illustrate the outlines on the iPad and then I print them off and then I watercolor them all by hand the traditional
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So they still have that nice soft feel about.
Feel. Yeah.
And so sitting in doctor's appointments, hospital, I still create my art and I don't waste any time. And
No.
people say to me, how do you get everything done? And I'll go back to that 5 second rule again.
Yeah.
Procrastination is not in my vocabulary because when I faced my mortality with, well, the MS to start with, and then
Yeah.
heart surgeries because I nearly died after the third one, and then having stage 4 cancer, I realized how precious time was. And I'm known for this quote, and that's time is the most precious commodity because you can't buy it, sell it, reuse it, borrow it, or steal it. So be careful on what and whom you spend it on. And if you're
Mm,
doing something out there now and you're listening to this and you hate it, go and upskill. Go
yeah.
and do something else. And it doesn't matter if it takes you 2 years to upskill. All
Mm,
right. And have a plan of what you're going to do into the future, but
yeah.
ask for help
Yeah.
because asking for help isn't a sign of weakness. It's a
No.
sign of strength. And no one can build resilience without asking for help. And you'll be amazed what doors and how your life will open up when you ask for help.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that. It's so true. And I love chatting to you. And I know we chat and chat and chat. And I think all my chats on here are going to be like that, where where we could talk for days and we're going to have to organize something where we get together with Bede, where the three
I
of us
think so.
I can't believe that we haven't been in the same room since 2023, but now when I think about it, we haven't.
No, we haven't. No.
Yeah. But
Maybe
I've seen you both many
maybe
times.
WEF this year.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe the Women Economic Forum would be a good spot. Yeah, yeah. All right. I'll have to love you and leave you. You need to go and get some sleep because you got to look after your beautiful grandchildren tomorrow. So
I do in the
that'll
morning,
keep
then
you
I'm going
busy.
to paint a warehouse again because I'm
Yeah, yeah,
really good at cutting in.
yeah.
It's the artistic ability in me. So they've got me cutting in all these
Neat.
walls. And I sit on my bum all day doing it. So
All right. Well, you
thank
get
you
some
for having
sleep.
me
Thank
on.
you for saying yes. Yes. I
Oh,
love
I can't
that.
wait to see it.
Yeah, I know, me too. Okay. And yeah, have a good night. And it's been a always, as always, a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
You're welcome.